Welcome students. This is a lecture series for class 11th zoology, and in this lecture series we are going to discuss about the chapter number 4 in the syllabus, that is regarding the animal kingdom. And in this chapter animal kingdom we will discuss the various phyla in non-chordata, and then we'll move to the chordata. In non-chordata we will start from the very first phylum given in the syllabus, mentioned in the NCERT book as well, and the name of the topic is the phylum Porifera. In each and every phyla we have to discuss the general characters of the phyla, try to understand. We have to discuss the various characters of the phyla, and then we have to give some examples from each phyla, right? So let's start from the first phylum in non-chordates, that's phylum Porifera. We will first discuss the various characters of this phyla, and lastly we will give some examples that we have to keep in mind for the NEET point of view and from the examination point of view as well, so far as the class 11th examination is concerned, right? So let's get started from the phylum Porifera. Let's start. So general characters of phylum Porifera. What are the various general characters of the phylum Porifera? Now first of all, you will remember that this phylum Porifera, the animals which belong to this phylum Porifera, these are called as pore-bearing animals. These are called as pore-bearing animals. These are called pore-bearing animals. Pore-bearing animals. The animals are called pore-bearing animals. Why? Because their body is perforated. Because their body is perforated. Body is perforated. That means there are many pores in their body. Different types of pores are there in the body. Body is perforated. So the name phylum Porifera. Okay. So this is the first characteristic feature of the phylum. Now the members of this phylum, the different individual organisms that belong to this phylum Porifera, the different animals which belong to this phylum Porifera, these are also called as sponges. So the members of this phylum, next character that you will keep in mind, the members of this phylum, are also called sponges. They are also called sponges. So they have soft body, sponges, right? Their skeleton is used for the various purposes, for various commercial purposes, for making the sponges used to clean the automobiles, utensils, and even used for making the loofahs, for applying the body washes on the body. So that is why their body is spongy, soft. So the name, right? The members of this phylum, different members of this phylum are also called sponges. So you have to keep in mind that which group of animals are commonly called sponges, or which group of animals is also called pore-bearing animals. The animals belong to this phylum, that is Porifera. Okay, let's move to the next character. Now so far as these animals are concerned, so far as their habitat is concerned, because every organism have some living and dwelling place where an organism live and produce its offsprings, and having some specific adaptations there, right? So far as the habitat of these animals which belong to the phylum Porifera is concerned, these are all aquatic, none is terrestrial. So far as the habitat is concerned, in the phylum Porifera, the individual organisms, I mean the members of the phylum Porifera, they are all aquatic. And in aquatic, they can be in freshwater, they can be in marine, but so far as the general character is concerned, generally they are marine. So the word is generally, not exclusively. So this means there are some exceptions in the phylum. For example, if we locate the exceptions, there is an animal which belongs to the phylum Porifera. For example, Spongilla, except, I should write here, except Spongilla. Spongilla is the name of a poriferan. So this Spongilla is commonly known as the freshwater sponge. It is known as freshwater sponge. So this animal is not marine. It doesn't live in the marine water, salt water, sea water. Rather, it is a freshwater sponge. So sometimes these type of questions, such type of questions are asked to you in the NEET exams and other exams, right? Which one of the following animal is, which belongs to the phylum Porifera, which one of the following sponge is called the freshwater sponge? So the correct answer is Spongilla, which is a freshwater sponge. So it doesn't live in the marine water, in the sea water. Rather, it's a freshwater species. So you have to go through the character. All are aquatic, they are aquatic, but the character is generally marine, but there are some exceptions as well, like Spongilla and Euspongia as well. So this is one of the interesting examples, Spongilla, which is a freshwater sponge. Okay, so this is all about their habitat, right? Now the next character of the phylum is regarding its germ layers. What about the primary germ layers? What about the germ layers? Germ layers are also called the primary germ layers. Some animals are diploblastic and some animals are triploblastic. This is one of the character for the basis of classification in animals, where we divide the animal kingdom into two groups, diploblastic animals and triploblastic animals. You know that diploblastic animals have only two germ layers, ectoderm and the endoderm. Mesoderm is altogether absent. While in triploblastic animals there are three germ layers, ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, right? And all the structures in the body of an animal are either derived from the two germ layers, two-layered gastrula, or from the three germ layers, three-layered gastrula. What about these porifera? What about these porifera? So far as these poriferans are concerned, these porifera are diploblastic animals. So write this character, they are diploblastic animals. They are diploblastic animals. They are diploblastic animals. They are diploblastic animals. And you know, diploblastic animals means they have only two germ layers in the body. There are two germ layers in the body. Two germ layers. There are only two germ layers formed during their embryonic stage, two germ layers, and these two germ layers are ectoderm and endoderm, right? So this is their character. They are diploblastic animals having only two germ layers in their embryonic stage, ecto and endo. Mesoderm is not there, right? So this is the fourth characteristic feature of the phylum Porifera. Let's move to the next character. Okay, let's move to the next character. For this I need to rub my board so that I can write all the characters on the board, and so that you can also maintain a lecture book. So let's discuss the other characters. Now, so far as level of organization is concerned, the fifth character is the level of organization. Level of organization. You know that all organisms have some levels of organization, starting from the cell, basic unit. This Porifera, phylum Porifera, the members of the phylum Porifera are very interesting animals. Although they have a lot of cells in their body is the aggregation of cells, but the problem with the body is that the cells have not formed tissues. In their body, the cells have not organized into tissues. So when the cells don't form the tissues, the level of organization is called as cellular level of organization. So they have cellular level of organization. cellular level of organization. And this is the only phylum in the multicellular animals who have the cellular level of organization, which have the cellular level of organization. The rest of the phyla are complex and advanced and have either tissue, organ or organ system level of organization. So starting from the Porifera, which is the first phylum, having very simple level of organization, that is cellular level of organization. They are very primitive animals of this kind having cellular level of organization, where cells are loosely arranged, cells are loosely arranged and have not formed the tissues, not organized into tissues. So keep in mind. Now moving to the next character, that is the sixth character of the phylum. These animals, as the name indicates, that they are the pore bearing animals. In the body there are two types of pores. In the body there are two types of pores. Why the name, right? So in the body there are two types of pores. There are some inlet pores, and there are some outlet pores, right? Or we can say there is an inhalant pore in the body, and there is an outlet pore or exhalant pore, right? So these two pores are having two different functions. Inlet pore or inhalant pore, through which the water enter the body, and exhalant pore, through which the water exit the body. Let's say, for example, this is the diagram of a porifera, a sponge, right? So this porifera is known as cycon. The name of the porifera is cycon, right? And in its body there are two types of pores. There are some pores through which the water enter the body. This is a pore through which the water enter the body, and here we have in this structure an exhalant pore through which the water leaves the body, exit the body. This inhalant pore here, this is called as, these are many in number. These inhalant pores are called as ostia, plural term, ostia, singular is ostium. And this pore through which the water exit the body, this is called osculum. So this is it. So you have to memorize, you have to keep in mind that porifera have the two types of pores in their body. Their body is perforated, and there are generally two types of pores which are concerned with two different functions. One is the inhalant pores called ostia, and another is an exhalant pore, that is osculum, right? So this is one more character in the phylum called phylum Porifera regarding the pores. Now moving to the next characters, the body of the Porifera have a cavity as well, a body cavity. They are not coelomates or pseudocoelomate animals, right? Because the mesoderm is altogether absent. So we cannot talk about the coelom, the character of the coelom, which is derived from the mesoderm. But still in the body, if you see this animal here in the board, right? In the body there is a cavity inside. The body encloses a cavity which is enclosed by the body wall, which is actually enclosed by the body wall. The body wall encloses a cavity, and this cavity is the body cavity, and this body cavity is called as spongiocele. The body cavity is called as spongiocele, right? So this is the next character of the phylum. In the body of the Porifera, in the body of a sponge, there is a body cavity. It's not coelom. I'm repeating this line. This is not the character of the coelom. No, not at all, because mesoderm is altogether absent. But this is the body cavity enclosed by the body wall, formed by the different layers of cells, and this body cavity is called as spongiocele, right? Spongiocele. And this spongiocele is very important cavity because it receives the water from the outside via the inhalant pores called ostia, and the same spongiocele is carrying the water to the outside by means of osculum, right? So this spongiocele is an interesting character in the phylum Porifera. Now internally from the inside, this spongiocele is lined by some spatial cells. This wall of the spongiocele is lined by some spatial cells. There are some flagellated cells in the spongiocele from this side, from the inner side, not from the outer side, from the inner side, right? So from inside wall of the spongiocele is lined by some spatial cells. The cells are called as conocytes. So this spongiocele, this is very important. This spongiocele is lined not from the outside, from the inside, from this side, I mean to say from this side. The spongiocele is lined by some spatial cells, which are flagellated cells having flagella. Spatial cells called, the spatial cells lining the spongiocele are called conocytes, or these conocytes are also called as collar cells. So this is generally asked in our exams, sometimes in the form of column type questions, or sometimes we have to exactly find out the answer from the 4 different options. Where the conocytes are present, collar cells is the characteristic feature of which one of the following, or either we have to match the 2 options, right? From the one side of the column in our NEET exam, a sponge is given, and from the other side a character is given, for example conocytes, right? So you have to keep in mind these conocytes or the collar cells is the characteristic feature of Porifera, a typical character in the Porifera, but these conocytes or the collar cells are present in the spongiocele. So internally this spongiocele, from the inside the spongiocele is lined by some flagellated cells called collar cells or conocytes, which are having different functions in the body. Okay, so this is one more character in the phylum Porifera, having a body cavity. Let me repeat, that is called a spongiocele, but this body cavity is enclosed by body wall. It's enclosed by the body wall. It's not formed by the mesoderm, which is lacking in the Porifera, and the spongiocele is itself lined by some specialized cells called as conocytes or collar cells. Now one more character in the phylum is a system of some canals. There is a system of canals in the body, which is actually the different types, which is of different types in different Porifera. And this system of canals in the body of a Porifera, this system of canals in the body of a Porifera is called as canal system. This is very important character in the Porifera, canal system, right? So in the body of the Porifera there is a system of canals called canal system, and let me tell you that this canal system is also formed by the body wall. It is actually the character of body wall. It's formed by body wall, which is actually having an outer layer and inner layer. Inner layer, I told you, that is the layer of conocytes or collar cells. Outer layer is the cells of there are some flat cells called as the pinacocytes. That is why the outer layer is sometimes called as the pinacoderm. But we are discussing the points of the NCERT, and we have to focus on the NCERT, whatever is given there. So the collar cells or the conocytes are the very interesting character of the spongiocele from the inner side, right? So together the inner layer and the outer layer of the body wall, if you can see here, this one and this one, these are modified in different sponges in the body of the different sponges. This body wall is modified and forming some canals, some channels which are moving towards the spongiocele and then are connected to the outside by means of osculum, right? So this system of canals or channels in the body of the sponge is called as canal system, and this canal system is having some important functions in the body. First, this canal system helps in the food gathering. This canal system helps in food gathering. It helps in the food gathering. How it helps in the food gathering? You know, when the water enter the body of the sponge through the ostia, so along the water current, some food molecules, some food substances also enter, right? And from the inner side of the body, there are the collar cells and the conocytes. They have the property of phagocytosis, they have the property of endocytosis, and responsible for the intracellular digestion, right? So this is important function of the collar cells or the conocytes, having flagella which is used to capture the food gathering, right? So the canal systems are responsible for carrying the water from the outside to inside, and along the water current some food molecules also enter. Okay? So now the canal system is formed of the body wall. As I told you, this is the characteristic feature of the body wall. Helps in the food gathering, but there are some other functions which are performed by the canal system, that is exchange of gases. Exchange of gases. You know, every animal and its cells need oxygen, and they have to exhale the carbon dioxide from the body. So there must be a kind of system which is responsible for the transport of oxygen in the body and the elimination of the carbon dioxide from the body. Since the body of the porifera is having the cellular level of organization, so there is no question of respiratory system in the body. We can't say it like that. So the only way to obtain the oxygen from the outside environment is this canal system which is moving towards the body, right? And to carry the carbon dioxide out of the body, again the same canal system is used. So this is one more function of the canal system. It helps in the exchange of gases. The third important function of the canal system is that whenever there is accumulation of the various toxic substances and the nitrogenous wastes in the body, excretory products of the body, these excretory substances are also flushed out from the body via the canal system. So this canal system also helps in the excretion. It also helps in the excretion, or we can say the removal of body wastes. Removal of wastes, nitrogenous wastes, right? So this is very important character. So that is why the canal system is one of the important characteristic feature of the porifera. Helps in different functions: food gathering, exchange of gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide, and lastly the excretion, removal of wastes. Now besides the canal system in porifera, there is one more interesting character. Right? So you can note down all these points from the board. If you need to go back, you can rewind the video, you can pause the video, so that you can write each and everything, right? So moving to the next character, in porifera there is the shape of the body. Although the body is irregular and do not have generally the symmetry, yes, the body do not have the symmetry, the body is asymmetrical. The body of the porifera is asymmetrical. Body is asymmetrical without symmetry. There is no symmetry in the body. The body cannot be divided into two equal halves. Yes, in porifera there is no symmetry. Body is not having the similarity or repetition of the body parts. So no symmetry. Body cannot be divided into two equal halves by any plane. The character is called asymmetry, and this is only, we see generally, this is only the phylum which is having the asymmetrical individuals in the group, right? Now, but overall the body is having some framework which support the body, which provide the support to the body, and the character is called as skeleton. The character is called as skeleton. So in the body there are some skeletal structures. In the body there are some skeletal structures, and generally the skeletal structures in the body are of two types. There are some structures called as spicules. The structures are called spicules, and there are some proteinaceous fibers called as spongin fibers. Spongin fibers. These are some proteinaceous fibers called proteins in nature, spongin fibers. So these spicules which are either made up of the calcium carbonate or made up of silicon. When they are made up of calcium carbonate, these are called as calcareous spicules, and when they are made up of the silicon, they are called as siliceous spicules. And these calcareous and the siliceous spicules constitute the skeleton of the body, right? Somewhere the calcareous spicules are more in number, more abundant, and somewhere the siliceous spicules are abundant. And in some, in some porifera, both are present in the body wall, which provide the mechanical support framework to the body. But in some, the body is very spongy and very soft, and instead of calcareous and the siliceous spicules, these proteinaceous fibers are present as a part of skeleton called spongin fibers. Let me repeat this character again. In the body of the porifera, there is the character of skeleton. There are some skeletal structures, but these skeletal structures are not the bones and cartilages that we have. Rather, there are some structures which are made up of calcium carbonate, calcareous spicules, or silicon, siliceous spicules, and in some cases there are some spongin fibers, and these spongin fibers are proteinaceous fibers. These are made of proteinaceous fibers. Okay, so this is one more important character of the phylum Porifera. Before this, we have discussed the canal system, which is important characteristic feature of the Porifera, helps in many functions, and this is one more typical character of the phylum Porifera called skeleton, and the different structures are present in this skeleton of the body. Now moving to the next character, this is a physiological character of the body, and the character is called a digestion. And you know, so far as the digestion of the food is concerned, in different animals we see only two characters there. One is called the intracellular digestion, where the digestion takes place inside the cells. When the digestion takes place inside the cells due to the lysosomal enzymes, this is called intracellular digestion. And if the digestion takes place in a tube, in a digestive tract, in an alimentary canal, this is called extracellular digestion. But we know that the phylum Porifera do not have that kind of level of organization. They have the cellular level of organization, so we cannot think about the digestive system. But there is the digestion there. Digestion occurs, food is digested. The question is how the food is digested. So the character is called intracellular digestion. So predominantly there is intracellular digestion in the body. Intracellular digestion. Digestion takes place within the cells. Different cells have the property of phagocytosis. They engulf the food molecules from the water current which enter the body through the ostia, through the canal system, and those food molecules are engulfed by the different cells, for example collar cells, conocytes, which are flagellated cells, and performing the function of intracellular digestion. Now, so far as sexes are concerned, this is the character of reproduction. So far as sexes are concerned, or we can say the reproduction, how these animals reproduce, how they results in the continuity of life. So far as the reproduction is concerned, generally what we see, these animals are bisexual. They are bisexual, or we can say hermaphrodites. Hermaphrodites. They can produce both the gametes. Different cells are there which can produce the gametes. Both male and female gametes can be produced by the same animal. And when an animal produces both the gametes, this is called bisexual or hermaphrodite. And these are hermaphrodites. Porifera are sponges, are hermaphrodites. Now, although they are hermaphrodites, but they do not encourage the self-fertilization, where the gamete of the same individual, male gamete, fuse with the female gamete of the same individual. No, this is not generally the character. Although they are hermaphrodites, although they are bisexual, same individual can produce both the gametes, but generally there is cross fertilization. That means there is exchange of gametes. So when there is exchange of gametes, between the two individuals. This is called cross fertilization, and this fertilization doesn't occur in the water or in the environment, rather it takes place in the body of the animal. So the fertilization is internal. There is not external fertilization, there is internal fertilization. Predominantly this character is found. There is internal fertilization. Internal fertilization. Internal fertilization character is called internal fertilization. Okay. Now there is one more character. Lastly, the character is called as development. So what about the development? So far as the development of the animal is concerned, it can be direct. First you understand the correct. It can be direct or it can be indirect. What do we mean by direct and indirect development? In direct development, there is no larva in intermediate stage. Larvae are not observed in the life cycle. When there is formation of larva before the adult is formed, so this is called indirect development. So there can be one or many larvae, right? So this is called indirect development. So if the life cycle, if the development doesn't involve the formation of the larva, then it is called the direct development. When there is the formation of larva or larvae in the development, this is called an indirect development. What about the porifera? What about the sponges? So far as sponges or porifera are concerned, these have generally the indirect development. Indirect development. They have indirect development. They have indirect development. So the development is indirect. You can write they have indirect development. So when the development is indirect, that means larva or larvae are present. Yes, larvae are present in the life cycle. In the development, a larval form is observed. So generally there are two types of larvae which are very peculiar to the phylum. Two types of larvae are there in intermediate stages in the life cycle of different porifera. One is called as Parenchyma larva. Parenchyma larva. This is the name of the larva. And another larva is called as Amphiblastula larva. Amphiblastula larva. So these are the two larval forms. If you can remember, that is better. Parenchyma larva and Amphiblastula larva. These are the two larval forms of the phylum Porifera and found in different types of members of the phylum Porifera. For example, this Parenchyma, it is found in the life cycle of a sponge. The name of the sponge is called as Leucosolenia. Leucosolenia is the name of the sponge. In its life cycle, we will find this Parenchyma larva. You can observe this formation of Parenchyma larva. While this Amphiblastula larva, it is found in another sponge. The sponge is known as Cycon. So, in the life cycle of Cycon, this is the name of the Porifera sponge. In the life cycle of the Cycon, we see this larva, and in the life cycle of the Leucosolenia, we find this larva. So these are the two larval forms which can be observed in the life cycle of different sponges. So the development is not direct, it is indirect. Now lastly, we have to mention some examples from this phyla, and this will complete our first topic, characters and the examples of phylum Porifera. So what are the examples? What are the different examples? Already we have mentioned one, that is Cycon, on your board, if you can see. So Cycon is an example of a Porifera. Cycon, right? Underline Cycon, scientific name, zoological name of the Porifera. And there is one more sponge that I discussed in the first character, when I discussed the habitat, Spongilla. It's a freshwater sponge. You have to remember which is the freshwater sponge. Spongilla is an example of freshwater sponge. And we have We have also the Euspongia. Euspongia is an example. Euspongia, remember, this is known as bathing. This is known as bathing sponge. Sponge, right? So these are some important examples of the phylum Porifera. And with this we have concluded the first topic of this lecture series, where we have to discuss the various phyla of the non-chordata and chordata, I mean animal kingdom. So watch the video carefully, write down the characters that I have mentioned on the board, write down the examples as well, okay, and wait for the next video that we're going to upload. Thank you so much.